Stay live.
Wagon. I think we're live, aren't we?
I was
Says we're
streaming
streaming.
strictly on my Twitch. I didn't put it onto the YouTube and
Amazing.
the Twitter, but I just switched it. I'm curious.
Oh
It's a
look.
good experiment to see if it goes over.
Oh look. Let's see what happens.
If not, I'll just restart it. We didn't really talk much outside of the Habs being back.
No.
I'm glad I looked. I was like, let me make sure.
I think
Says
it says
says we're live. Yeah, 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 yeah.
we're live. We're live. We live, baby.
Look at that. I can switch it fucking mid show. Just cut it over to a
Good
different
show.
channel. Love that.
We just hey, that's you know what that gets.
What's that get? Oh, claps? Let's go. Clap it up. Clap it up for the boys.
Clap it up for uh I mean, yeah, Habs are electric right now. They're fun. They're a fun team to watch. They're pesky. They're not going to do anything, and I'm fine with
Nope.
that. I'm really okay with that. Like
No,
fully aware that
you're doing far
or
better than I expected you to be.
Ivan Demidov. Have you seen any of the Demidov highlights? Sheesh.
Ivan Demidov of the Dimsdale Demidov.
Of the whatever team in Russia that won't let him leave because he's under contract, and like, no,
Yeah, I
and
saw
have him.
that goal the other night. It was nasty.
He's filthy. He's gonna come over and fit right in with the lane train, Patrick Line and Gooley, the whole lot. Suzuki's on a tear. Cole Caulfield's on a tear. Team's back up. Ottawa was coasting. Ottawa was like, "Hey,
But
we're
you
in a
start
playoff
putting the
spot.
word out there.
We're just gonna chill out. We're just gonna chill out in this playoff spot." All of a sudden, they look in their rearview mirror, and it's that robot meme chasing you down. Montreal Canadian Terminators coming here to fuck shit up. They're just ready to ruin you. They're fun. They're a fun team to watch, man. They're going to lose a bunch of games, but the scores are always going to be high, and Wi-Fi might punch your teeth out.
He fights everybody. He's ready to go all the time, except Ryan Reeves, apparently.
He beat Revo already though.
That was
He already put
there
him on
was
his
a
ass.
far worse example. Two fucking nobodies on the Utah Fighting Hockey Club and the St. Louis Blues, O'Brien and then Tucker. I don't know either of those guys off the top of my head,
Okay.
but they were talking shit during like pre-face off at the end of the previous play before, and they going back and forth. Some clearly agreed to something. Face off goes. Utah player O'Brien throws his stick off to the side. Player that he was talking shit to, Tucker, receives the face off, lasers
Yeah.
it in right past him, and then O'Brien's like, "What the fuck?" They fought immediately following the next face off, and he beat the shit out of him. He's bloody and everything, but that's the game
Like,
you play, man.
I get. So
Guys are
you're
gonna
sitting there and
guys are gonna do shit like that. It's about winning at the
you
end of the
look at
day.
Wi-Fi. You look at Wi-Fi in this situation. It's 3-0. You're not fighting anybody. Like who are you fighting? You didn't come back, or Revo didn't come back around when it was 3-3. Reeves wasn't like, oh, now we're up. Like he didn't come back around to fight him when it was 7-3. Also, he put him on his ass earlier in the year. He has no problem fighting him.
Right.
Plus, he fought Rempe. Like I feel like if you're like, what are we really talking about here? Washed up Ryan Reeves or Matt Rempe, the Rempire State Building. We really comparing the two? Rempe is absolute unit.
He made
Will fight
Wi-Fi look
anybody.
small.
But Wi-Fi held his own in
Oh,
that
he
fight.
fucked
That
him
fight
up.
was
He had him
that
down on the
was
ground. I couldn't believe they let the fight go on.
was amazing.
I totally
love
thought
this.
they were
That's
gonna step
old
in.
school Knuckles,
Yeah,
man.
no, I
Old
loved it.
school Knuckles.
Loved
You
every
got a
bit of
goon? The sheriff will fight him.
it.
Sheriff will fight him. Doesn't care. Doesn't matter who it is.
I'm
He'll
fighting.
fight him. He's ready to go.
I could have fought
Guy's
another
always-
goon the night before. I could have fought another goon the period before. It doesn't matter. I'm fighting him.
My favorite tweet about it was the
He's
difference
6'9"
between
and he plays hockey, Tao. He's not named Zdeno Chara. Of course he's a douche.
The best tweet I saw was the difference between Arbor Xhekaj, Ryan Reeves, and Matt Rempe is that Arbor Xhekaj can play ice hockey. Got it.
Yeah, I mean it's true.
Rempe doesn't really play hockey. Let's
No,
be honest.
neither does
Rempe-
Reeves.
He's out there. He's out there to bully, and Reeves is out there to try and bully. He did it well, like 5 or 6 years ago, but he is well beyond He's aged milk at this point. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's not a specimen. I don't like it. I think it's amusing. I really think it's amusing, but it is what it is. We had some football games, which you didn't watch.
No, I went to a concert in Boston. It was awesome, by the way. I got this hoodie. It's fucking sweet. I like it. But the long concert too, by the way. I think we got in there at like 6:30, and then we walked out at midnight. Well, got my money's worth.
What time did it start though? Was it like a festival or like a proper concert?
It was a proper concert, but we didn't get in there. Proper concert. That's what that sounded like. But we didn't get in there till after it started, and we walked in at like 6:30, 6:45.
You want to know when I knew that I was getting too old for fucking concerts?
What's that?
I was in Las Vegas to see. I saw Avicii and
Oh shit!
Someone else. I saw some like really
levels,
cool guys.
There?
Yeah. So we were at MGM, and Avicii was coming on. And it was almost 2 a.m. and they were like, "Oh, it's time for the opener."
Avicii.
And I was like, "What do you mean the opener? It's 2 a.m."
Yeah,
and that's when I knew I was too old.
Well, you're fucking seeing DJs and shit, and of course they're going on late. This is just
it was a good time. No, it was a good time. I mean, Killers was amazing when we were in London this summer.
Yeah.
And like festivals are always a good time. You show up and you stay all day, see some amazing shit at festivals.
No, this was sick. Great show. Loved it. All of the acts were great. Some dude got too drunk like early, and they had to stop the show because everyone was like, "Hey, he's down. He's down. We need assistance." Also, real quick, MGM Boston. I'm talking to you. Drink prices are out of fucking control, dude. That's insanity. I don't bitch about drink prices. I'm going out. I'm gonna have a good time. Like, I'm expecting to pay money for drinks. You know, like I'm here to
pay the price.
Fucking Jack and Coke and a Truly should not cost $48 fucking pre-tip. You're out of your mind. That's fucking insanity, and it needs to be said. We gotta somebody fix the fucking economy before it gets out of control. Massachusetts alone is just fucking insane. But
somebody should
aside from that second rant, while I'm hot, I got this anger in me. Boston streets are the fucking worst place in America to drive. It sucks so fucking much. We should have just gambled and gone in for, like, find parking when we get there. Should have done that, because I paid the same amount on fucking Spot here to find some goddamn back alley fucking parking lot where you're gonna get stabbed, so you're gonna have to step over a junkie to get back to your car. Insanity. 2 alleyways I had to drive down where my fucking Kia barely fits. I'm like dodging gutters on one side, trash cans on the other. Get out of that alley. Have to fucking go not even maybe 20 feet. Like the turn I'm taking to get down this alley, I would have had to take a wider turn just to line up my car to get down the alley. Go down another one, bang another. It's a fucking disaster. It was meant for horses and carriages, not fucking Tellurides and Teslas.
The amount of Tellurides you'll see in Boston too. Every other, you're either
Dude,
driving.
I see 8 Tellurides a day,
you're driving one of like 3 vehicles if you live in the Boston area, and I mean the surrounding fucking suburbs as well. Everything like all the way out past Foxborough. All like you can go probably like 40 or 50 miles out. You're driving one of 3 vehicles. It's either a hybrid, you're in the city, see them all over the place, an oversized SUV or pickup truck that you're not actually doing any work in, or a beat to shit Honda or Toyota. As one of those 3.
Fucking
you got the exhaust that's falling out the bottom. It's like you're like, I know that guy.
And they all hate you. They all think they're the best drivers on the planet, and they hate you. Speaking of, I was leaving said concert, driving home. Forgot to turn. While I'm in this back alley, I'm shining my lights into somebody's apartment. So I'm like, I'm gonna turn these off. Drove back the rest of the way out of the city through no lights because there's street lights every fucking where. I didn't even notice. I get on the highway, and this guy immediately like drives right up to my fucking window and is like what in God's name could this be? I roll my window down. He's like, your lights. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Cut him on. Not 30 seconds later, he almost drives into me trying to go around the car in front of him. Not 30 seconds later. I was like, you just helped me out and you almost fucking totaled both of us.
Mass highways are a special kind of highway. Everybody has to do.
It was fucking
like,
late at night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. He had all the room in the world.
Everybody's driving 110 miles per hour, and
four open
everybody
lanes,
just
and I'm
merges.
still gonna cut you
Doesn't
off.
matter. Doesn't matter. Get out of the way. Also, I'm signaling and I'm just coming over. I'm not waiting. There's
no signal.
Grace
no signal. He came up and braked behind this car in front of him while I'm in the other lane, and then he just immediate left turn into my lane.
Hard over.
Thank God I was watching him, or else we would have been fucked. I'd have been like, hey, we got to do this podcast on Wednesday from Mass General because I'm laid up.
You did miss all the football, but that's okay because I got you.
I saw all of Sunday. I made sure to pay extra close attention on Sunday. I had notes out and everything. I'm just Saturday I missed all of it, and that was the good shit.
Saturday was disappointing to start. We got Kansas City and Houston. Houston actually looked like they were holding their own defensively.
I told you that last
really
week.
Until the referees got involved. And I am not the rig is in guy. I'm not the sports are fixed
No, in
guy.
fact, when anybody bitches about it, you pop into the chat and are like, hey, don't do that. It's stupid.
Don't be an idiot.
No, Tal, I didn't die. I'm here because I have Need for Speed, Fast and Furious type driving ability, and I bobbed and weaved my way out of it. Thank you very much. Continue, Armchair.
And I'm not even saying that it was necessarily rigged. I'm just saying that the referees made two very bad calls that definitely impacted the game outcome at this point. There were two roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness bullshit 15-yard freebies that were given because Mahomes is there. The first one was an arm that came up. It looked like the masks almost touched. It's like they almost touched tips. They didn't quite touch tips. And then all of a sudden it was
they almost touched tips here. Censor bar. Oh my God, they did.
They did. They must have.
They had to have. They had to censor it.
The free 15 yards there, that would have been a stop. And the other one was Mahomes running around like a maniac, slid late. That one I really hate. I really hate late slide. Because the late slide is worse than the I think you hit his head, but you didn't. Because I can see when two bodies come together how it's like, oh, maybe he hit his head. And it's like, he probably didn't, but sure, whatever. You can see how you could argue that from your shitty vantage point. You're the referee, you should be able to see it better, but whatever. Let's call it what it is. The second one where he slid late and the two Texans collided with each other over the top of him, and then they still flagged it, was over the top for me. And then every time Mahomes was touched, and I mean quite literally every time. Soccer. Absolute cinema. Give the man the Oscar. He'd get touched and it was LeBron James level of floppery. We're talking the most you touch his back and all of a sudden his whole chest kicks out and his arms are flying in the air and he's throwing his helmet off and sprawling all over and looking up at the ref it's brutal. I have two younger brothers that I grew up with that are absolutely would have done the same thing to get my mom's attention, to get me into shit. After provoking. After provoking. It's what they do.
Only child never had
It's
to
what
deal
they
with
do.
it.
Yeah. It's brutal.
Just provoke my
It was
parent.
brutal. It works the same way. It's the same way. It was brutal. It wasn't great. CJ Stroud looked fine. He could have been better. He could have been better.
For sure. I mean, I expected the defense to be the bigger part of that team in this game anyway.
It was. It was. It was.
But yeah, I mean, I saw very little of Chiefs Texans. I just know everybody was bitching about the refs afterwards. But I mean, that's a typical Chiefs Sunday.
It's a typical NFL Sunday.
And then
it doesn't matter which team you root for.
You see all these graphics about like him and Allen and all these pass interference or roughing the passer calls. Tom Brady, where's he on those lists?
Yeah, I
We
know.
fucking earned it, and everyone wanted to hate us. This shit's way worse. How are you going to impact
Uh,
every single game at the end of it? It's just annoying year in and year out. The refs affect the NFL playoffs more than anything else.
and
It's
I saw
one
that
game.
MVP
It's not a series. I mentioned this in the Discord a couple weeks ago. Like the NBA, you're gonna have calls that don't
either
go
way.
your
Yeah,
way. Like
same thing in the
you
NHL
can
for the most
say
part.
exactly. You can say the ref fucked you on this or that and this, but guess what? You probably had 3 or 4 calls go your way in that series that probably shouldn't have. And when it's a
Yeah,
one game decider, and I'm not arguing that it should be a series. I think one game is totally fine for the NFL. Their bodies
totally
go
fine.
through
Yep,
enough. But it's just so much
it's
more
ugly.
impactful when the refs fuck things up or favor something, whatever it may be, whatever you want to call it. But it's just more
I don't like.
prominent. You see it more when it's just one game.
My problem with it is that it just had a terrible. It left a terrible taste in the mouth, and then he did the flopping after, and it just
Yeah, and he
like
goes,
it
I
made it
probably shouldn't
worse.
have done that. It's like,
It made it
no
worse. You got a
shit.
couple of calls, and like you take those every time you can, but
Yep,
then don't do it. Don't like you don't need more. Travis
correct.
Kelsey showed up. He made an Mahomes made an incredible throw from like the middle of falling, and that's exactly what I expect out of that team. The bigger game was the
DeAndre
Lions,
Hopkins,
and
no catches.
yeah, wasn't a revenge game.
No.
And yes,
Fucked
Josh
me
Allen,
because I had him everywhere as a revenge. I was like, Texans, he's going to at least score. He's going to at least score.
all running quarterbacks flop except for Lamar. I don't really see Lamar flopping.
No,
He's too fast. He's too fast.
legs were on full display in Buffalo.
He anytime Lamar runs, he's by the time he gets hit, he's moving too quickly. You can't fake that. Doesn't have time for it.
There's so many
Too
plays I thought he was dead to rights in that game, and he just finds a way.
spun out always. We'll get to that game for sure.
Yeah, what you want to?
Commanders
Yep.
and Lions.
So,
Uh,
not seeing the game, just watching score updates because the guy in front of me clearly had money on the game, and he was checking his phone for line. I didn't have service. He had probably had fucking Sprint or T-Mobile or some other fucking shitty
bougie,
phone
you
booth.
bougie ass cell service.
Some shitty fucking cell service. No, I have good cell service. It's fine. It's just I don't know. Some random
He's got
places I
cell
don't
service
get it.
plus. That's all.
I
He's,
get
he's
it in
got
the I get it in the woods and the boondocks and all these fucking weird places that every normal person shouldn't get service. But anyway, this guy was checking it every 30 seconds. He had the score back up on his phone. So just watching those updates, I was like, Lions fucked this one up. This is a Jared got one of those games. They just come out flat. Every trick play doesn't work. Stopped on 4th and short, and the Commanders were just doing the same shit they've done all year. It's a miracle season.
I was watching, and so when we watched Buffalo and Denver, when Denver scored on the first drive, you thought, oh, they're going to be in this.
Yeah.
Washington was in it immediately. Commanders were in it immediately. And you were like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And then go down, and there's like, everything is working. Daniel's doing what he does best, which is like he's quick. He throws the ball quickly, and he's accurate. He doesn't overthrow guys. He doesn't like, and his receivers want to play for him. So they'll make the catch. They'll make the contested catch. All of a sudden, Olamide Zaccheaus is like a great receiver. Diami Brown is like
Olamide
next level.
Zaccheaus
Like, what are we
probably
even
won me
talking about?
$300 the last couple weeks of the season. He came on
I'm
strong
not
out
saying
of
anything
nowhere.
against it. Zaccheaus, Brown, and Scary Terry he is him, man. That guy is him. He's been him for a while.
I was
Everybody
like
didn't
3
understand.
years late on De'Ami Brown, but he finally showed up.
Terry McLaurin has been a dog since the day he was in the league. He's just had like 11 quarterbacks and
Hmm
42 offensive coordinators and doesn't know what the hell's going on. Finally has a quarterback, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, he's pretty good. He's been good. He's been good. That game got out of hand in a hurry. It got out of hand in a hurry. Every time he turned around, the Lions could not get it going. The only player that was getting anything going, I don't know why they did this. Jahmyr Gibbs was unstoppable. Jahmyr Gibbs was unstoppable. Every time Gibbs
He's
touched the ball,
unstoppable most games.
it was 6 or 7 yards. He was doing at least 5 yards a touch.
If
Like
the Lions
if
just
you're,
cracked down and gave Jahmyr Gibbs 20 carries a game, he'd have
but they
2,000 yards.
but they didn't. So they started with Monty, getting him back in the fold, and I get that he's your guy. He's back off injury. You've ran the Sonic and Knuckles thing the entire time. It always starts with Montgomery. It always goes to Gibbs second. That's the way they run their offense. And they started out with Monty, stopped, like crushed. They had Montgomery dead to rights every play. Gibbs couldn't touch him. He was getting chunk plays and like catches out of the backfield, and he looked so good. And then they're like, all right, now that we've done that big chunk play, let's give it back to David Montgomery for a loss of a yard. And like every time. And then it was, Jameson Williams throwing into like double coverage.
It's the NCAA
Was
25 thing where you're receiving back, who just gashes him every play, and then you're like, well, my number one power back should be able to do something. Nah,
let's give it to the fullback.
He's stonewalled.
Let's give it to the fullback.
-3, -1.
You know who we want to
-2,
play right
1,
here? Kyle
-3.
Juszczyk. Tim Alstott into the game. Let's just give it to the fullback every time.
Kyle Juszczyk
no one does.
receiving yards is automatic, by the way.
It is automatic. Juice.
It's like 6.5. He usually gets something.
Always. He's always part of the game.
And if not, you're like, fat.
Washington owned
It's a
that game.
fullback.
They owned them. From start to finish, they owned them. Detroit choked it. And I don't have any, I don't want to say this to be, unkind to Lions fans who have gone through plenty. But they came into that game expecting to win without doing what felt like any of the, they did no it felt like they did no preparation for it. Like they were just like, oh, well, next week we're going to be in the championship game, so we'll worry about playing whoever is out of that side of the bracket, and we'll get past Washington and boppity boopity, we're done. And it reminds
With the last ride of your coordinators.
They remind me of the Lions or the Giants team that beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
They're just like it's just a good group of guys that they're playing well. It's the best we ever saw Eli Manning until he beat us again. But really it was. This looks different. Jaden is moving. He's different. I know that everybody was pumped on the CJ Stroud thing, and I'm not sure that he's not a great quarterback in this league, but I'm telling you that Jaden Daniels will be. How's that feel for the Bears? Passed on that guy for Caleb Williams. You blew.
Where would you rank the 5? CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams.
Jaden's 1.
Yep. Jaden's 1, Drake's 2.
Out of that group,
I'll live with 3
Drake
right now.
3.
I'll live with 3 because CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud is probably
3.
2. CJ Stroud is probably 2. Drake is 3. Caleb's probably 4.
I think Bryce is 4. I think Caleb's 5.
Bryce might be 4. I mean, are we ever going to know?
No, we're not.
Are we ever actually going to find out?
No.
Every time he shows flashes, he's like, I'm going to score 45 today. And we're like, great. And then they win the game, and you're like, holy hell, Bryce he's in. He's figured it out. And then the next game, he's like, I don't know who my receivers are.
I'm going to throw for 178 yards, and I'm going to throw the ball out of bounds 12 times.
It's tough. I hope he figures it out because I think he deserves a shot. But that's tough, man. And Caleb, as much as people like to bash on the outside of football things for Caleb Williams, inside of football, he had moments where he looked like a quarterback. He did the right things, scrambled for extra yards, and people hate on it because he paints his nails and does all this other shit. And they're like, painting your nails, you big fairy, whatever. Get over it. Let him paint him. I don't give a shit. If he's winning me football, I don't care. If Drake May came in next week and was like, I painted
Catchers
my
paint their
nails,
nails, and they might be
do
the
not,
grittiest players
do
on a
not,
baseball team.
do not care if you're winning me games. Do not care. Don't care anything about your personal life either. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care whether you're dating someone. All I want to know is, are you bought in? Are you locked in for wins? Because that's all I need.
It's Tom
I
Brady's
don't care about
pitch
any
to
of the other
Antonio
stuff.
Brown, word for word.
Yeah, that's it. So look, the Commanders won, and I mean, look. So Sunday came, and you watched
hard to
Monday.
play a team for the third time. Eagles Commanders is going to be a fucking great game, dude. I
Sunday,
cannot wait for that. But hey, let's talk Sunday.
Eagles win in spite of themselves. It was the fight in Saquon Barkley's.
It's been the same thing all season. Every Eagles game that you've watched in prime time played out the exact same way that Rams game did.
Rams almost beat them. Say what you will, the Rams had that game.
They did.
Rams,
I bet on them like a few minutes to go when they were down, and I was like, they're coming back. They're gonna win this game. It's gonna be fucking Rams Commanders. It's gonna be disgusting. We won't have any idea how we got here.
It was so close. I know
it was almost Rams Commanders in SoFi.
Yes, which is just insanity.
And it was very close to being Texans Ravens in fucking M&T Bank.
Also, yes, which is also
insane. It's crazy.
Football. It's been wild. Eagles won, but Saquon won, really. Like, the Eagles didn't do shit. Their defense was okay, but they got carved up at the end there. That defense that everybody has been talking about has been so good. Nearly cost them the game. And they were talking about, after the game, Jalen Hurts was like, how about that Eagles defense? How about Stafford threw the ball away?
Jalen Hurts was high out of his fucking mind when he gave that speech. I've never heard that guy talk that much, smile that much, stutter that much, all of it. He was on cloud 9. It was Jalen Perks,
protocol.
Dude. That guy
he was in concussion protocol.
They said, we're going to give you a shot of this, and you're going to go out there. And then they were trying to find him after the game to get it. Big Dom was, like, swimming through people to get him away from reporters.
He's just smiling. He's happy to be there, man. He's just grinning like an idiot.
I know when a guy's fucked up. That guy was fucked up.
That the game was ugly. Saquon Barkley's a dog. He's the only guy that does everything. He's unreal.
200-plus yards. Man,
Again.
It'd be tough to sleep at night if he went to the Eagles, huh?
Yeah. It's not like he's going to rush for like 2,000 yards, though.
Not like he's going to run for 200 yards to carry them to the NFC Championship in the snow.
Oh, Giants. Giants.
Calling LaShawn McCoy got him plus 10 Philadelphia Eagles rep, I think. If the fans didn't love him enough already, they're like, and he's talking to Shady?
Yeah, it's double win. Double win for them.
Double whammy. Double whammy. But yeah, that team is living strictly off of the run game. Even Kenneth Gainwell goes out there and gets fucking 7 to 10 yards on rushes.
We'll get to predictions after we talk about the final game of the weekend, which was Bills-Ravens.
Yeah, let's do it. Lamar Jackson getting far too much hate in the media this week.
Lamar Jackson deserves no hate.
Zero.
I don't know. Like this is the problem with giving quarterback record credence. You can't put everything on the quarterback's record in terms of like wins and losses. How did he play in the games? Was he the reason they lost?
No.
He was not the reason they lost this game. I don't know if they would have won the game if Mark Andrews caught that pass and tied it. The Bills had timeouts and 1:33 left on the clock. I'm not saying it would have been for sure a win, but it absolutely would have been. It would have been a lot of. I don't even know what to call it. It would have been interesting to see. I'm not saying it was a guarantee that they lose it or win it. It just would have been more.
I bet on the fucking Ravens when they started driving too, dude. I was like, they're coming back. And they did. They ran it all the way. They got it all the way down the field. Lamar looked fantastic, and
You're
it
right,
all
Tal.
comes down to
You're
a
right.
drop and a fumble. Which
The fumble was
Mark
more
Andrews
egregious.
again, tough. You can't do that in a playoff game. It sucks, but part of the reason they had a chance to win that game was because of Mark Andrews. The second half, he got nothing going. I know this because I was invested financially in Mark Andrews that night. He got nothing in the first half. The second half, all of a sudden, a switch flipped, and Lamar was like, "That's the guy I trust. That's where I'm gonna go." And Mark Andrews ate in the second half. If it wasn't for a shitty fumble and a really tough fucking drop, he looks like a hero that game.
The crazy part about it is, so we had an Andrews fumble, first one in like 5
Yeah,
years.
exactly, Tom.
We had Andrews dropping the 2-point convert. We had a Lamar pick, which he hasn't thrown a ton of this year, like 4 all year. And we had a Lamar fumble, which we haven't had a ton of this year either. And they still lost by 2.
Yeah. There was nothing in that game that the Ravens did where I was like, this, like, you need to blow it up. Like the Steelers when they played the Ravens. Watching the Steelers play in a playoff game was like, this sucks.
Start
You
over.
can't do this. Start over. Fix it. The Ravens, it was like any ball bounces a different way. Like they could have won that game. It's the same thing when they played the Chiefs in the first game of the season. It's a great way to bookend both years of this because it was just a year where you came up short. It sucks. It's tough to stomach, but at the same time, like, are you really going to change anything? No, you're in a position to win a Super Bowl. You're one of the top teams in the AFC. You have a great roster. Obviously, you need some overturn. You need some, or turnover, excuse me, and you need some
Some
more
pieces.
pieces. But
I don't know what it is.
you also
though,
didn't
but,
have
like,
your
you
number
didn't
one
have,
receiver. Your
you didn't.
defense
You didn't have
had
Zay.
a lackluster year compared to the defense that was there last year.
Yeah.
Like
And you were still you were. This happened with Buffalo when they went against Kansas City and lost the 13-second game, and people are like, "What do you change? You don't change anything."
which that ruined clock management.
Yes,
It ruined it because I'm so fucking. I could do 2.5 hours just raging about clock management in the NFL. I'm gonna start a notes page for next season where I'm gonna write down every instance where the clock management pissed me off, and we'll at the end of the football season I'll just do a live stream where I read them off.
we'll just rant them off.
Yeah,
There is no reason to think that this team isn't a contender already. Like they should already be on the list for next season because there is no reason to think that they shouldn't have won this game. This is one of those where if you were to put it on sim, they probably win 90 out of 100 sims. Like they were the better team for most of that. You got to be lucky to be good sometimes, and that's playoff football. It's a shitty situation for Andrews, being on that end. But I mean, Lamar did everything to get them in that position. No way he deserves any hate. Andrews shouldn't get any hate either. Like frankly, like don't give people hate. It's this ridiculous. Your team lost. I mean, he didn't do it on purpose. He's not throwing. Unless we find out that Mark Andrews like bought a super yacht with his like winnings from FanDuel or something, then like lay off.
yeah. He's out there Drew Allering with yachts for the AFC Championship game. I mean, it's tough. It was a tough loss. They'll be fine. They're gonna bounce back. But yeah, it's a tough day to be Mark Andrews. And then you wake up, well, hey, at least see you got some charity money.
Got some charity money. Bills Mafia coming through again. Every time the Bills beat someone or someone beats someone to help the Bills, Bills Mafia comes through.
Let's go donate to Scott Malkinson's charity.
And nobody deserves death threats over that, man. Nobody
No,
deserves
it's
death
fucking
threats.
ridiculous.
That's nonsense.
It's what you say under your own roof when you're financially invested in a game is what you say under your own roof. But to put it online or to send it to a fucking person is insanity.
Players don't care about your parlays.
It's ridiculous.
Players are not. They are
especially
not
like
that.
your own guy. He's on your team. Like,
yeah, I can't imagine.
Be
that.
better.
I don't get it. I don't. For one, can we stop messaging players
At all?
We just stop that. Like, just don't do it. You're not their friend. You're not their homie. They don't care. They don't know you. They don't know you, Scott from Madison, Wisconsin. They don't know you.
But
Like, just,
what if they just signed a big, massive mega deal, and I'm like, hey, I need a new roof.
we need sponsors for that. We'll worry about that from the sponsorship end. They can reach out to us. Like, they can initiate, but like it's super simple. Just like don't do it. Don't be an idiot. Go sit down and drink your garage beers in your garage. Shout out Garage Beer, hopeful sponsor of the show.
Shout out Garage Beer.
Oh, Garage.
We
Friend
want
of
to
the show.
talk weekend preview before we get into some
Yeah, let's do
off-season
it.
shit, and then we'll get
Yeah,
a
let's
little
do
bit of MLB, and we'll get Stone Stories, and we'll get out of here.
Where do you want to start? AFC, NFC?
Let's do NFC.
It's the Commanders by 1 billion. Fully on the hype train.
I think I'm just gonna bet the over and call it a day.
That's a wise decision. The Eagles can absolutely win this game. It's tough to beat someone 3 times. You can't. You got to play them 3 times.
Yeah.
You didn't beat them all of them. You're 1-1.
That's where I think Jaden Daniels is at a disadvantage, where he's playing a defense for the 3rd time. However,
Sure.
on the other side,
We'll
like, I don't think Jalen Hurts is a good enough quarterback to keep up with the Commanders' offense if their defense
Is his
even
knee
gives
good?
them an inch. Yeah, I don't know. Is his head good? Is his arm
head's-
good? I don't know.
He needs to read inner excellence. They have no passing game.
Zero. They had more of a passing
it's
game with Kenny Pickett. Tell me
comedy.
why.
It's comedy how little.
Is it because he
passing
could
game
get the
they
ball to A.J. Brown? That
because-
lollipop that
it's
Jalen Hurts threw to the back of the end zone on the left side, I forget what quarter it was, but it was early.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go to A.J. Brown, and it undershot it by 3, 4, 5 feet. He's lucky it wasn't picked. It was double coverage. You have to get that ball up and over to your big-bodied receiver. It's insanity the amount of shit Jalen Hurts fucks up every week, and then somebody wants to tell me he's an MVP candidate because he fell into the end zone from the half-yard line 12 times in 18 games. I don't fucking care. Watch him play quarterback. Put him behind an average offensive line, and look what would happen. He's not good.
I asked you this question before, but there is a difference between actual quarterbacks, like good NFL quarterbacks, and good fantasy football quarterbacks.
Yes.
And Jalen Hurts is the definition of a good fantasy football quarterback. Dak Prescott, probably also a good fantasy football quarterback, not necessarily a good NFL football quarterback. And what I mean by that, for those in the audience that are like, what is he even talking about? Playing the game of football is about reading and mitigating your disasters and making sure that you're not putting your team in a position to lose, but rather a position to win. And Jalen Hurts doesn't do that. What
He mitigates
does
disasters. He
is
spends
he-
his entire game mitigating disasters and taking zero
He's
risks,
skibbity
because the
toilets
second
all
he
over the
takes a
place.
risk, he shits the bed because he's not capable of making those plays.
he's trash.
He's not good.
Not good.
I'm
He
so
does
sick
get
of hearing about Jalen
rushing,
Hurts.
but rushing touch. The problem is rushing touch. People don't know the difference. They don't know the difference because we live in the DraftKings era.
Yep.
This is what sports betting and DFS and all these other things have led us to. No problem with it. I'm just saying, people don't understand football at all.
No, then
They're
people
like, yeah,
want
but
to
he's a
read
really good-
They want to read a
They're-
stat sheet and then tell me
They
how
don't.
the game
Not
went.
even just that. It's not even a stat sheet. They want to look at his fantasy points. You got to be
Right.
24 fantasy
Gotta
points.
be great.
How could he be a bad quarterback? Well, he was like 7 for 14, but he rushed for 2
Watch
touchdowns.
one
so
all
that's
22.
why.
Watch an all 22 one time, and you'll see why Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback.
I like the Commanders. I'm riding the train. They got nothing to lose. Why not
Agreed.
us?
Yeah, house money. House
This
money and a
freebie.
half. Like you're
Eagles have expectations.
Right.
Saquon's great. Outside of that, I don't trust half the team.
nope. Quinion, how's Quinion
Brutal.
Mitchell? Is he playing? Is he practicing? Because that matters a lot.
It does.
The second he went out of the game, it opened up the Rams' passing attack.
Yeah.
And then they lost Isaiah Rodgers with a little hobble on the sideline, and then you're down to Keelan Ringo. Like,
It's real dicey real quick.
real quick.
real fucking quick.
And why was Matt Stafford testing Darius Slay constantly? You played with him for how long?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
Wild. He made some ridiculous decisions in that game.
I call that Uncle Rico syndrome.
Yeah, facts. I got a golden. I can throw it over that mountain.
Throw it over that mountain.
Could have
made
Darius
state.
Slay. I don't care.
Could have made state. I get it past Slay. I get it past him. On the AFC side, I know what we both want. And I'm going Buffalo. Circle the wagons, baby.
I am too.
This feels like
I'm
Josh
in a
Allen's
lose situation here with these NFL playoffs because if the Chiefs win, I get dynasty talk forever and ever and ever, and I hate it. If the Bills win, it's a division rival, and I don't want them ever to be happy. As much as I like Josh Allen, I don't want them to be
Josh
happy.
Allen?
Their misery is
Awesome.
my happiness. Your
Absolutely.
tears are substance. I don't want the Commanders to win because then I have to hear about how Jaden Daniels has a Super Bowl ring and Drake May doesn't, and it's going to go on for far longer than it should. I already see it happening. And then if the Eagles win, I get people telling me Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl ring, so there's nothing I can do about it. And I can't live in that world. It has to be the Commanders or the Bills, one or the other. Hopefully both of them win, and we see that in the Super Bowl. Then I don't care what happens.
Can we get Josh Allen against Jaden Daniels as a quarterback matchup? And I'm here for it.
Yeah. No, Monday was just full existential crisis day. I was like, I don't win at all. It's just lose, 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 lose. I don't like this.
Nobody's happy.
Not one bit.
That's brutal.
But anyway, I hope the Bills win. I think they can. This offense performs way better than they have, or than they should have all season. The 27 points in 11 of their last 3 games.
They're good.
Josh Allen gets it done. Doesn't matter who he's throwing to. It's just a cast of friends out there. They got IMDb credits on like one show, and it's the Josh Allen show. It's a cast of characters out there.
In his interview, he was talking about how everybody talked about how they were small and everybody doubted them, and I was like, never once did I hear that you were small or being doubted.
Yeah.
People have been telling me that you guys were Super Bowl contenders since like week 3. What are we even talking about here?
I don't know why they're trying to play the underdog card.
Because it's all they got.
They've been better than the Chiefs all year.
Yes, they have. Like, significantly.
Record doesn't show everything. But the Chiefs and also, by the way, their last 10 matchups, 5-5 with an equal amount of points scored. I think it's 251 or 241, something like that.
All right.
It's dead even. This game can go either way, and there's just something in the water with Josh Allen. They already beat them once. Like, I think they can do
Let's see it.
But then
there is part of me that is like, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. There's part of me that knows what's going to happen. They're just going to walk to the Super Bowl. It's the same way everybody felt about the Patriots for years. It's like, oh, they could lose this one. They could lose this one. They're down however much to the Jaguars at halftime. Like, no, it's not what happens.
Never happens.
So I'm just preparing for the worst. It's going to be Eagles Chiefs again, and
It can't be. I can't do that. I won't watch.
I'll call out Monday and black out before the game.
I won't watch.
I'm not going to do it. I can't do it again.
Something else. I'll watch reruns of Dateline. I'll do anything else. I'll watch Keith Morrison on repeat. Not watching that. Not watching Chiefs and Eagles. Can't do it.
Yeah.
One of them, fine. Give me somebody. Give me one. I need one of these games.
Watch compilations of crowds singing songs at sporting events.
It's a great way to spend time.
I'll do that.
British soccer chants.
Top tier.
Top notch.
Top tier.
We need more of that in the NFL.
I've said this on here before, but I follow a page on Instagram that's just soccer chants, and it's fantastic.
I don't understand why they're not in American football at all.
It would ramp baseball up. We talked about this with darts last week. Like, we need some fucking juice in there.
Give me that in baseball. Speaking of baseball, as we kind of wind down our night, Hall of Fame announcement. What do you need? What do you want?
Can we do offseason shit real quick? NFL?
Oh, yeah, we got some off. Yeah. We got
coordinators, dude.
We got coordinators?
We got coordinators, dude.
We got a real staff in New
Josh
England.
McDaniels
Real
is
staff.
back. You heard it here first.
You probably didn't. He's been
You
back for a
didn't.
while.
I said that shit a couple weeks ago. I was like, I don't be
That's
surprised if
true.
McDaniels comes back, and he came back.
Absolutely.
I'm cool with it. I'm good. It seems
It's
like
a real staff.
it's a real staff, and that's the biggest issue. I have a shameless plug. I have a piece coming out this weekend or Friday, I think. Friday on the newsletter. It's the
Might be
tragedy
Thursday and Friday. We'll see.
tragedy of Gerard Mayo and the ballad of Mike Vrabel. It's a two-parter, and the general overall theme of Patriots coaching staff last year was just dysfunction from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Whether it was communication, play calling, preparedness for games, anything you want to name, it
All
was a
bad.
problem. Having a cast of respected coaches and coordinators and guys that have done this shit for a long time. Say what you want about McDaniels, he's got Super Bowl rings. He coached Tom Brady for 20 fucking years. Like,
He's a great OC. I have no problem with
fantastic
him as an
offensive
OC.
coordinator, and he changed the entire offense from Brady to Cam Newton, and I think he can do the same thing with Drake May. He never he never got a quarterback in Vegas. Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, we did.
And I hate him as a head coach. I
Wait.
don't like it. I've had my concerns with McDaniels in the past. If I see one third down halfback draw from like 7 and out, I'm gonna fucking lose it. But I have confidence that he's gonna be able to build a true offense around Drake May. I think if you're Pop Douglas, you're like, let's go. I'm about to be Edelman. I'm about to be Welker. I'm in.
Yeah. Bears also got their guy. Ben Johnson came to the Bears. Doesn't know his lefts and his rights. At the podium, did you see that?
No, I didn't. What happened to that?
Yeah, he goes. Reporter goes, "Hey Ben, on the right." And Ben goes,
tough. Been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, and I've noticed my left and right's lack. And not left and right. It's east and west. Don't know why. Don't know why. Had an issue with that several times. But
it happens. I do feel about. I feel like if the problem there is Caleb Williams going to buy into what Ben Johnson is selling?
Should be. He talked a whole lot about you in your press conference. In his press conference, sounds like you're one of the main reasons he's there. So
give him. You better buy in, because if you don't, you're in trouble. Then it's nothing. Yep. That'll be the true testament there. Because if Caleb thinks that he's better than Ben Johnson, which is evidence that he might, I don't know the guy. We're not friends.
See those guys that prank texted him saying they were Ben Johnson?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes. That's hilarious. How do you get that guy's number? What are we even doing here? I think it's a good hire. I mean, he's the most coveted piece. I thought he might go to the Raiders, but the Bears makes more sense. If you want to build something, the Bears made more sense.
Yep.
Raiders' job looks terrible right now. It looks worse without Ben Johnson.
Not as bad as the Jaguars.
Still the worst one out there.
The Jaguars
Jets
fired Trent Baalke.
Yes.
After all of the good coaching candidates said, no, we don't want to go there because you have Trent Baalke. And they went, oh, well, I kind of committed to Trent Baalke. And then they're like, all right, well, we're not doing it. And the second, they've just gone down the line. Everybody kept declining. Liam Cohen was like, nah, I'm good. I'll go back to Tampa and play with Baker Mayfield. And here the Jags are holding their dick going, well, I guess we have to fire Trent Baalke. So now you have no GM, no coach, and you're going to settle for Robert Saleh, which, all right.
It's not the worst job.
Not the worst. I wanted him as defensive coordinator. So, well, is what it is.
Byron Leftwich going to go there or what?
I just don't. What do you do? You look like such a joke. It's just classic Jaguars. You waited on Baalke long enough to show every team you're not serious, then fired Baalke. Just classic Shad Khan.
Yeah. It's all the work, man. It's all the work. He's been spending too much time with his AEW friends.
Trent Baalke's he's going to come out on AEW.
Yeah, make an announcement.
I am the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Vince McMahon is actually going to come in and buy it. You might be wondering why I'm here in your stadium. Well, I own you. It'll be a great Vince McMahon moment. We also had the Jets making their guy official. Aaron Glenn.
Shout out.
Former first-round pick of those New York Jets.
What did he win?
He was home.
What do you win while he was
You know,
there?
nothing. He was first round pick.
Right.
Just don't win things.
It's gonna
That's
stay
his
that.
name.
It's
If they
gonna
don't win
stay that
things,
way.
I think it's a good hire for them, man.
Supposedly wants
Like
to keep Aaron Rodgers.
why?
It's the word on the street.
Gonna do this again?
For what? For why? To
You
lose
know
all
he's
the
just
young
getting.
talent that are fucking sick of him?
You know that he's getting older, right? Like he's
Let him go where McCarthy goes, if that's what he wants to do. You want to go to the
where's
Steelers? You want to go
McCarthy
to the
gonna go?
Steelers? Go to Steelers.
He's not going to the Steelers. Where's McCarthy gonna go?
Saints.
Raiders? Saints?
I would say Saints before Raiders, but I could see him doing either. He's also sat out before and just gone, I'll wait a year.
Yeah, I don't like any of the
What are the? That's another. What do the fucking Cowboys do now? Because you did the exact same thing the Jets or the Jaguars did, just in reverse. You did the same thing with head coaching instead of your GM. You waited long enough for all the coaching candidates to get interviews elsewhere, and then you went, actually, no, I'm good on you, Mike McCarthy. You can go. So what are you gonna do? You just gonna court Dion? You gonna do the
Did they
Deion
think
Sanders thing? Because that's the most Cowboys thing I've ever heard. Cowboy up.
did they think they were gonna get Ben Johnson? Were they like, we'll just wait until
No,
the
they
Lions
waited
are
too fucking
eliminated?
long. It's crazy.
Everybody else got in early. Patriots got it done early.
They're well done. They're on their way to signing all their shit. They're probably looking towards the draft already. Like they got their OC. They just hired Terrell Williams, the D-line
Yeah.
coach for the Lions, is going to be the defensive coordinator. Like the Patriots are already rebuilding everything. We're ahead.
Bears have their staff pretty well figured out. Jets are starting. I guess Aaron Glenn was calling guys already, like starting to get the staff assembled. Like everybody that needed coaches was like, we're now. Let's go now. Like we got to do this right now.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, it's like there's like 4 or 5 teams
because
that are
everyone,
sitting
oh
there.
fuck, the
Like
Pats are ahead of everybody right now.
everybody went, oh, the Lions are eliminated. I can't wait to. And he's gone. And he's gone.
Dan Campbell is the South Park meme right now. He's just standing there. The your agent's just like, and he's gone, and he's
And
gone,
he's gone.
and he's gone, and he's gone, and John from accounting, he's gone, and then next week because John from accounting's gone, most of them are probably gonna go too, and then it's just Dan Campbell in a padded room yelling to himself like, we need grit, we need grit."
I like Dan Campbell. I
One
think
pride.
he'll be fine.
I like Dan Campbell too, and I think he'll get good coordinators in there. But for anybody, Discord or otherwise, to say that he's going to be fine by himself is nonsense.
Yes. All right. Where are we going now? Baseball Hall of Fame.
Baseball Hall of Fame. Ichiro Suzuki getting absolutely fucking snubbed by one guy who wants. He's like, actually, no, pineapple is good on pizza.
You know, it's fine, but like, why do we just not make him unanimous?
Why
Why do we do this?
Is there ever a more unanimous Hall of Fame vote than fucking Ichiro?
No, but they've done this with a
He
few guys
dominated
now.
in Japan. He came over here, dominated here. Like every story you hear about him,
He's
every video,
the best.
he's the fucking
One of the
man.
best.
He's the man.
What are you supposed to do
If
with
he
that guy?
pitched, he would be Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
The man
he
was
would.
incredible. He would. The man was incredible.
He stole bags. He had RBIs. He got hits out the wazoo. Between 2 leagues, he had
And then
hits out
every
the
person
wazoo.
you talk to is like, you watch his batting practice. Guy could have hit 50 home runs in the league. I don't know.
Yeah, but he
just-
wasn't trying.
No, he just
He's just
chose
playing
not
good
to.
baseball.
He chose not to. And even when they're
He
like,
was-
"Hey, do you want to show it off in the home run derby?" He was like, "No, this is too modest for that."
Like, hey, Ichiro, we need a hit here. And he's like, what kind? And they're like, a double would be great. And he's
Where
like,
would you
got
like it to go? What gap?
You got it.
Would you like
I
it
will
down the
find a
line?
gap. Yeah. You want me to run fast or slow? Which one do you want?
I'm gonna throw this football
Stand up
over
double?
mountains.
Slide in?
It's
What he does.
ridiculous how the fact that a bunch of fucking writers that have probably never fucking played baseball get to decide who's in the Hall of Fame.
So
It should be on Hall of Famers.
well, so hold
I
on.
think
Do
it
you
should
know
be
who
like half and half because you need a degree of people being like, that guy's not that good. Like,
brought up earlier today, and people I think are confused about what actually happens. Major League Baseball doesn't elect its own Hall of Fame. So let's start there. It's not owned by Major League Baseball.
Nope.
It has nothing to do with their PA or their players. No one is involved with it. It is the Baseball Writers Association of America. And the only way that you get a vote in the BBWAA is by being on the beat of a team for 10 years. So you have to be a sports writer on the beat, credentialed for that team for 10 years. After those 10 years have expired, so you get your credentials and let's say you're done. You're like, now you've moved into a studio job and you're doing like baseball tonight or whatever, you're, on MLB Network. You still get your vote for 10 years. There's a grace period after. So after you get your vote, there's another 10 years that you still keep your vote. So the voting doesn't turn over for at minimum 20 years. If you waited 10 to get it, you have it for at least 10 if you got off the beat. That's insane. That's absolute insanity. And those people they know the game of the guys they cover. But like if you're a beat writer for the San Francisco Giants, what do you know about Edwin Encarnacion?
Right.
Not a Hall of Famer, by the way. Hall of Good, not Hall of Great. Hall of Very Fun. At the Parrot Wing.
It's ridiculous that that's how you decide the Hall of Fame.
No other league does it that way.
Nobody.
The NFL doesn't. The NFL owns their Hall of Fame.
Also, as a
Not
guy
the
who,
NFL
which
Writers
is
Association.
it's funny as a guy who's visited all of the Hall of Fames. MLB it felt the most like sacred when you were actually in amongst the plaques. You're like, whoa, I can't be here. I shouldn't be here. I don't want to touch this. And it's like the most bullshit of who actually gets to pick who's in there.
Yes, it's trash. We also
that
had
one
CC
guy. I hope you think about this every night when you go to sleep for the rest of the time.
Just doesn't care, man.
No, he doesn't.
Care.
He doesn't give a fuck.
This is the way I like to think about it. He was like, well, I'll just give my vote to someone else to keep him on the ballot because I know Ichiro's getting in.
But then you're the one guy. You're the one guy that causes unanimous fucking.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Now the only unanimous guy is Mariano Rivera, who, if you like to Google him right now, is a bad guy doing bad things. Could have had Ichiro in there.
Could have had Ichiro.
But
CC
regardless,
Sabathia
he made
also
it.
in.
CC Sabathia first ballot, kind of shocking. I knew he'd get in. I didn't think he'd be first ballot.
He's the last of an era of pitchers that actually like pitched full games.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna see a bunch of guys with like
just tough when his WAR is like
.1
.1 better than Josh Beckett.
Well,
his one Cy Young is contested. But I like CC. For Yankees pitchers, I liked him a lot more than other ones.
It always seemed like he was having a good time.
Yep. And he got a lot of shit through his career. I still remember Brewers CC with.
Oh yeah, Brewers CC was a good time.
lots of fun. Brewers CC.
Brewers CC. Also a big fan of Brewers Prince Fielder.
We're gonna be talking rotations next week, by the way.
Yes. Not me.
Be prepared for that.
I'm not.
No, I am. I'm talking rotations. Oh, not next week. 2 weeks. Sorry.
2 weeks.
Good call.
And I will also talk
Good call.
rotations.
Good call.
Billy Wagner in. Good for him.
I think I should still do the show, just yell into the mic by myself for an hour next week.
I want you to. It's just a list of all the clock management that was wrong.
If I kept track of it, I would have done it. Maybe give me a full calendar year, and I will have it ready to go. I promise. Yeah, I mean, CC Sabathia first ballot. Billy Wagner crying on getting in on his last chance on the ballot, which I mean he should have. I'm cool.
He should have been
getting in there.
Anyway,
Carlos Beltran, 19 votes short of 75% threshold. Probably 19 people that are still mad about the Astros scandal, if you ask me. Andrew Jones, inching closer, probably in next year for a guy that started out on the ballot, where people being like, probably not going to get in, to probably getting in next year, if not the year after. Pretty good for Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
And Manny Ramirez going to the last year of eligibility. Stupid fucking steroid bullshit. But what do I know?
He won't get it.
Best right-handed swing in the history of baseball.
We again, I state that we should have our own fan-run Hall of Fame.
Correct.
We just start. We'll open it up. It's the fan-run Hall of Fame. You have to submit your ballot once a year. You have to register to vote. That's it. Tell me who you are and where you live. Not your address, but like
social
your state.
too. Social too. Social. Armchair.
Need your
Don't
social?
forget the social.
Credit card number if you can.
And last bit I have on MLB before we get to Stone Stories: the Dodgers are ruining baseball, and I'm over it. And if you're telling me, oh, other teams need to spend, okay, they're gonna, and it's gonna be fucked, and it's because of you.
It's not even that other teams need to spend anymore, though, because the Blue
Well,
Jays
that's
have been
the
trying
excuse
to.
I keep hearing from Dodgers people.
I know it is, but the Blue Jays have been trying to spend. They've thrown more money at people, and they've just been like, "Nah, I'm going to sign with the Dodgers."
No, I'd rather go to a place that's actually burning. I'd rather go to a literal hellscape.
I'm frustrated with it because it feels like when I was younger, there were people that were like, "I want to go to such and such a place and be the star and like help win a championship." And now it's like, I want to go get a ring, and this feels like a free ride.
You're telling me to spend? There's no fucking way we didn't offer more than the Dodgers did for Teoscar Hernandez. There's just no way. He went there anyway.
There's a lot of guys that could have gone other places. I should know. Toronto's been talking to all of them.
Interesting.
Got Tony Taters.
Final three.
Got Tony
Toronto, etc., etc.
Tony Taters. Blue Jay. Actual Blue Jay.
That's fun. I'm glad he's not a Red Sox because I didn't want him.
He's gonna rake in Toronto.
I could see them being like, "Oh, well, let's miss out on Juan Soto," and John Henry's like, "But I got Anthony Santander. He had 40 home runs.
40 home runs.
You're like, fucking damn it, dude.
All right, give me a Stone Story.
I'm gonna choose your own adventure tonight. I have the same story from 4 different perspectives in this one article. So I'll read you my perspectives so you can pick. I got a blind. It's gonna sound like a bad joke. I got a blind guy, an amputee, a roommate, and blind guy's son.
We gotta start with blind guy.
All right, let me flip to the page and we'll go from blind guy's perspective. So his name is Dan Phelps. Blind man is Dan Phelps. Phelps told police he is legally blind and can only see forms of light and some, quote, shadowy movement. He said he has been trying to get Perkins to move out because he wants his son. Perkins is the roommate.
Okay.
He wants Perkins to move out because he wants his son to move in. Perfectly fair request, in my opinion. He told police he was angry Perkins returned after he changed the locks earlier in the day. He said Perkins refused to open the door, so he's going down a basement apartment. He's like, "Hey, asshole, get the fuck out. I already told you." He changed the locks. Perkins came back in through the window. So he's like trying to move his son downstairs, which is wild to do the same day. He's definitely just trying to sneak him in there. Anyway, Perkins is like, "No, I'm in here." So, "Hey, asshole, get the fuck out." Refused to open the door. He goes upstairs to retrieve his handgun because he felt the situation was escalating, which seems like an escalation in itself, if you ask me. But hey, I'm from a blue state. Phelps said he then heard the bedroom door shaking and believed Perkins might be coming out. Phelps told police he feared for his safety because of his limited vision and fired one single shot into the door, accidentally striking Anselmo with the bullet. Anselmo is the friend that showed up. He's Phelps' friend, not Perkins' friend. As he was helping Anselmo up the stairs, he fired one more round into the door, which is fucking insane. He struck his friend he invited over, and then on his way up the stairs, escorting his injured friend out, that he caused, mind you. He shoots another round down into the basement of this guy who he's trying to evict. Because that guy was escalating the situation. Phelps told police he feared for his safety, or whatever. Who would you like next?
Give me the amputee next.
All right. Amputee, that is Mr. Anselmo. He was invited to the house by Mr. Phelps. Anselmo, who's taken to Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center, told police he knocked on Perkins' door and heard a loud pop followed by a burning sensation in his left amputated leg. He initially thought the shot came from inside the room where Perkins was, but soon realized he was shot from behind by his friend, Mr. Phelps. He told Phelps, "You shot me." Phelps started apologizing profusely, said it was an accident. Police wrote the bullet struck Anselmo in the knee in his artificial leg, which is just below the knee. So he got shot in his amputated leg. And Armchair, I sit here and ask you this. Is it worse to be shot in the leg that is fully healthy and not amputated, or to be worse to be shot in your already injured amputated leg?
It's probably worse than the already amputated leg.
That's what I'm thinking. I think he dodged. I mean, he didn't, but I think he dodged a bullet, a metaphorical one in this sense, by getting hit in his already amputated leg. He's like, well, that one's already spent.
It's already in there.
And I think I'm right because he didn't press charges. So if you need any confirmation, pretty sure that's it. Anyway, he's transported to the hospital. This guy's now out of the story. You have two options left, Armchair. Just choose your own adventure.
Let's go, roommate.
It's going to be on you to clue this together and give me a real synopsis.
Let's go, roommate.
All right. Perkins. Oh, he's up higher. Perkins told police that he had been looking for new residents since Phelps had been trying to get him to move out for about a month and a half. He learned that he was locked out of his home that afternoon after returning home from errands, called police for help. An officer responded and explained he could gain access however he needed since he legally lived there. They did the paperwork, whatever. He's like, no, you're entitled to be here. If he locked you out, you can get in to at least get your shit. Perkins entered through the basement bedroom window, just started hanging out, just stayed there. I assume cockily waiting for his neighbor to come down to move his son in, and him being like, hey, what's up? Still got in. Changed the locks, motherfucker. Guess what? Police later determined Perkins was a legal resident of the home. He heard Phelps and Anselmo banging on his bedroom door and yelling for Perkins to get out. He then heard a loud bang, followed by Anselmo screaming and Phelps saying he was sorry. Shortly after, Perkins heard two more bangs and saw what he described as shrapnel coming through the door. Notice two, not one, Armchair. Differs from Mr. Phelps's story. Two shots through his door. He told police he climbed out his window to leave the home, called the cops, and he just waited for the cops, out away from the house. Would you like the son's explanation, which I think sums it up pretty good?
Yep.
Glad you waited for this one. Also, before we get into this, you haven't asked me yet. Why did the blind guy have a gun?
He's American. What do you mean?
Does it have a handicap sticker on it? He's blind and he's got a gun. That's fucking insanity that's allowed to happen in this country. This was obviously going to happen at some point. There was no way it was bound to. There's a blind man walking around with a gun, angry enough to shoot his friend and continue shooting said gun. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't touch a gun ever again. Wildness. So his son, he told police he lives with Phelps and Perkins and that he and his father have been trying to evict Perkins for several months. Basically, the son already lives with these two. He lives upstairs. He's basically sleeping on the couch. They're going to kick Perkins out. He's going to get the whole room. Son told police he and his father changed the locks while Perkins left the residence Thursday at about 3 p.m. Perkins broke into the basement window where Perkins was staying, the son told police. He said his father returned home at about 5:45 p.m. and was upset. Phelps called his friend Anselmo. He's like, I'm going to need fucking backup here. Let me call my amputee friend, which is that's the same guy I'd call if I was in a fight. Who's going to hit an amputee? Perkins, Phelps was alarmed at Perkins being in there because he said that he was going to drag them out himself. He's like, if you come in here, I'm dragging both of you out. He told police his father armed himself because of the threats Perkins made. He said Anselmo arrived shortly after and went into the basement with Phelps to confront Perkins. The son said he was, which, shout out to the amputee guy. Like, you're getting called into a fight and you have no questions. You're like, yeah, I'll go down there. I'm knocking this fucking guy's door. I don't care if he's got two working legs. I'm hard.
Forget it. I'm in.
I'm iron.
Fully in. Yeah.
The son said he was upstairs when he heard a gunshot, according to documents. Cool that the son knew immediately that it was a gunshot. This means he's seen some shit. He then heard Phelps apologizing to Anselmo for shooting him. He said his father then fired his gun 3 or 4 more times. And this is his son. Not the guy who was in the room that said it was 2. 3 to 4 more times in a Perkins story. Told police he believed his father fired more shots out of anger because of his temper. He told police he and Anselmo told Phelps to stop shooting, and he complied. And yeah, that's his perspective there. Couple things. Wicked odd couple. I'm a blind guy. My best friend's an amputee. And we are not afraid to get down. We are strapped. We'll fight whatever it's got to be. Fox is salivating. If one of them is even
Regulators
some sort of minority, Fox is like, get these guys on TV now. Fox, CBS, any of them. Firing 3 to 4 more rounds after shooting your friend is hilarious. Just like, oh my God, are you okay? Hey, I haven't forgot about you, motherfucker. And just still that angry. Hilarious.
Yeah.
No comprehension of what's going on. Wild stuff, Armchair. Who do you think's in the wrong? Do we have a winner here?
Well, the blind guy's in the wrong. The guy that's firing bullets, first of all,
I think whoever issued him the weapon is in the wrong.
You can't have a firearm. You have a stick. That's what they give the.
No, one time in this article was it like the firearm was legal. He obtained this firearm illegally. Everything in this points to that he was allowed to have that gun, which is fucking crazy.
Like, excuse me, I'd like to buy a firearm, and they're like, "Can you see it?"
He's got the glasses, the cane, and the dog, and they're like, yeah, here you go. What would you like? Are you looking for something to defend your home? Would you like a 12 gauge? Something that's really going to send a message?
You know what that is? That's the sound of freedom reign.
Did you watch Arrested Development?
Yes.
The blind lawyer who was pretending to be blind to get better results in her case, and Tobias is rolling through the house trying to be a cat. That's all I could think of reading this. I was like, is this guy really blind, or is he like...
It's not. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
And the fact that his son was the most honest in the article.
It's like, yeah, my dad just kept ripping bullets.
He was like, he's got a temper, and he shot that door like at least 4 times after he shot his buddy.
Brutal.
He's like, is he going to be okay?
Unbelievable.
To be a fly on the wall. Week. Yeah, we went late tonight. That story took a while, and I'm sorry. But
listen, that's a TLC reality show waiting to happen.
I read this article like 5 different ways before we went live. I was like, this is a masterpiece. I might print it out and put it on my wall like some sort of fucking psycho.
Absolute cinema. We are not back next week.
Nope.
Week off. We'll see you in 2 weeks.